ओ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् कस्तूरितिलकं ललाटपटले वक्षस्थले कौस्तुभम् नासाग्रे नवमौक्तिकं करतले वेणुर्करे कङ्कणम् सर्वाङ्गे हरिचन्दनं सुललितं कण्ठे च मुक्तावली गोपस्त्री परिवेष्टितो विजयते गोपालचूडामणि. So we are seeing chapter 3. We've come towards the end of chapter 3, and this beautiful chapter, now Bhagavan over here has mentioned, we saw in the last 2-3 shlokas, Bhagavan is talking about the inevitability of this prakriti that we all possess. We have a mind, but it is as though a prakriti has a mind of its own. And to conquer that, it requires effort. Sometimes we know what is right, like in the case of Duryodhan, he mentions at the end of his life over there in Mahabharata, he says, Janamyaham dharma nacha me pravrutti. I know what is dharma, but I never took to that path. Janami aham adharma sachameva pravrutti. I knew what was a dharma, and that alone is what I took. So, I mean, if we know it, and if we know what is right, what is wrong, and if we still don't heed to it, that means there is a strong presence of Prakriti clutches over here, over us. But that should not be a reason why we should not follow Dharma. So Bhagavan over here in these upcoming, in Shloka 31, we saw Ye me matamidam nityam anutishtanti manavaha shraddhavanto anasuyantaha muchyate tepi karmabihi. Those who are endowed with faith, those who, no matter how much the inner voice of resistance speaks, but time and again that voice is silent and silenced and said, no, whatever Shastra says, whatever teacher says, I will do. Bhagavan also towards the end of Bhagavad Gita, he makes it amply clear. Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te Karya Karya Vyavastito. That for whatever is to be done, whatever is not to be done, let Shastra be the guiding light. So Bhagavan himself will say that in the 16th chapter. So, ye me matamidam nityam anutishtanti manavaha, those people who follow this Anutishtanti manavaha shraddhavantah, endowed with faith, anasuyantah, they do not find any faults with the teaching, they lap up the teaching, muchyante api karmabhihi, they are completely freed from all types of actions and the bondage of actions over here on top of on us. Ye tu abhyasuyantah nanutishtanti me matam sarvajnana vimudham stan viddinashtan achetasah. Those who do not follow my teachings, Bhagavan says, ye tu, over here, etad abhyasuyantaha, those people who are just finding faults, such people na anutishtanti me matam, they do not follow this sarvagnan vimudham stan. Sarvagnan, whatever knowledge is there, even the worldly knowledge, we find ourselves bankrupt of all types of proper thinking. And like it is said in the case of Ravana, Vinashakale Viparita Buddhi, such a great person of understanding, knowledge, grammarian, Vedic Pandit, Shastrajna, everything is there, but desires overcome. So what to do? Sarvajnana vimudham stan viddinashtan achetasaha. Such a person, achetasaha, even having the chetana power of the mana and the buddhi, achetasaha, it is equivalent to some type of pashu buddhi. What to do? They are succumb to the forces of, over here, prakriti. Sadusham cheshtate swasyaha prakrute jnanavanapi prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. Bhagavan says this is one of the most often quoted shlokas by people who have studied Bhagavad Gita to show the powers of the clutches of Maya on all of us, the clutches of Prakriti. Jnanavan api, even though the one who is endowed with knowledge, swasyaha prakrutehe sadrusham cheshtate, they are as though pushed by the nature of the equipment. Prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. Prakritim yanti bhutani. People are succumbed to the forces of this created over here. Prakriti is meant, the prakriti of the equipment is what Bhagavan means. So at the individual level, at the vyashti upadi level, it is the equipment that we all possess. Nigraha kim karishyati, what can restraint do? Few rare people like our Tapovanji Maharaj, complete control over senses, complete control over mind, intellect. If we read some of his works and meet the people who served him, very few remain, and they talk about the glory of this, the great Mahatma, Guru of Swami Chinmayananda. Powerful, there's absolutely no pressure of Prakriti on that ajasya avakrachetasaha, this unborn ever awareness, consciousness, that alone was invoked in all aspects. So in this way, continuing shloka 34, indriyasyendriyasyarthe ragadvesha vyavasthitau tayornavashamagachet tau hyasya paripanthino. So over here, Bhagavan is saying indriyasyarthe. indriyasya indriyasya arthe raga dvesha vyavasthito. So raga likes, dvesha dislikes. So when the senses come in contact with the sense objects, indriyasya indriyasyarthe raga dvesha vyavasthito. When the senses come in contact with the sense objects, attachment and aversion for the objects of the senses, it abides. The raga dvesha for the sense objects abides right over here in the senses. That is what is said over here, that the likes and dislikes for the world of objects, attachment and aversion for the objects of senses. Over here, Bhagavan is saying indriyasya, indriyarthe, indriyarthe, the sense objects, indriyasya of the senses, ragadvesha, the likes and dislike, vyavasthito, it is seated over here. So when we actually think about, let's say we have affinity for eating an apple. We like apple. And someone says, I do not like pears. A simple example of fruits. A preference for apple and a dislike for pears. So the tongue is the sense over here, and the sense over here, the object of the sense, the tongue over here, and the object of the tongue, the apple and the pear, the likes and dislikes are actually seated over here. But the commentary is given over here. And the attachment is felt over here, but the attachment actually is not over here, it is over here. So if we are alert, what Bhagavan is saying is, the sthula prakriti is where the likes and dislikes are there. But if we do not live an examined life, the gross likes and dislikes become subtle and they become very powerful. So Bhagavan is saying, be very careful when you say, I like this object, I don't like this object, I have preference for this food, I do not like this food. The minute we verbalize it, we are bringing the attachment closer to us. Attachment is actually little bit far away, but upon repeating it and telling 10 different people that I like apple and I don't like pear, I like apple, you go to even the temple and you've gone enough time to the temple, even the Pandit ji looks at you and says, I better give him apple, otherwise he's going to be here for 20 minutes. So the Pandit ji has to save an apple for you because he knows you come over there on Monday for Rudrabhishekam. And that poor Pandit ji's mind is like, otherwise he's just going to kaka over here. So this is, our attachment to the world of objects. When we bring it closer, it becomes a force of the subtle prakriti, which will force it higher into the seedal cause. And this seedal cause will make sure that it repeats and it repeats and it repeats, and it is very difficult to remove attachment when it is at the level of vasanas versus attachment which is at the level of the senses. I like this color. Oh, I don't like this color. Oh, I like this car. Oh, I don't like this car. Because everything in our life enters through the 5 gopurams of our senses. And the dwarapalakas of the gopuram, each one of them are raga and dvesha. The 5 entry point into the sannidhanam of the soul, the 5 gateways, and each gateway has 2 dwarapalakas known as raga and dvesha. And the minute the sense object enters through the gateway, before it comes to the mind, and after it has entered, it is already been colored by the dwarapalaka likes and dislikes. So Bhagavan says, if you are serious about spiritual evolution, by the time Prakriti becomes drada, and puts her stamp on us, we should live a very attentive life. Teach children from childhood. When the child makes a fuss and I don't like this, as a parent, it is at that time we say, you know what? In this home, we accept everything, because whatever comes in the plate, it is a blessing of Goddess Annapurna. We cannot say no. Even that bitter gourd which has come, I know you don't like it, you don't prefer it. If you say you don't like it, change your language to Amma, I don't prefer this. But you are going to have to respect the bitter gourd and have even a little bit of it. After that, you can have your payasam. But until then, you please finish it, because it is a right thing to do. Our raga and dvesha actually starts with the plate of food from childhood. And I can see if the parents don't train it, it turns into greater problems. It will be some struggle in the toddler years and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8, but we asked for it if we invite them into this world. If you want to create spiritual progeny, we must teach them from childhood that at the level of senses, don't become too attached to the sense object by giving commentary. Oh, this boy is like this. Oh, this girl is like this. Oh, I like yellow color. Oh, I don't like red color. These create strong impressions. And they are the fodder upon which the Karana Sharir stands tall. So Bhagavan has talked about Prakriti and how Bhagavan has says, Prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyasi. So Bhagavan is explaining nigraha kim karishyati. This is the source. A child who is silent eats whatever they got, wears whatever they got. We can see from the life of Swami Tapovanji Maharaj, no complaint about anything from childhood when he was growing up in Palgad itself. His only attachment was love for meditation and love for solitude. Even when he did not want to go to school, he told his father, tomorrow onwards, I don't want to go to school. And father says, why not? He said, I didn't say I don't want to study, but what they teach over there, it doesn't interest me. I need something more. A father arranges tuition. And at the age of 16, 17, the teacher himself goes to the father and says, your son knows more than what I know. I'm not going to come from tomorrow onwards. Where can we find a teacher who refuses to teach because the teacher feels ashamed that the student knows so much? You know, the reason is no raga and dveshas. This is karma yoga. This is a building block of the art of doing action. Simply learn to observe the world. If we give commentary on every sense object, what we hear, what we see, what we smell, what we taste, what we touch, if there is a continuous commentary, even in the cold weather, the desire for taking just a little long hot shower. The reason I bring this example is because it happened to me this morning. Very cold over here. I don't turn the heater on. Wanted to a little bit longer, and I remind myself, attachment to the skin. Turn the shower little bit towards the cold. Automatically wanted to get out of there. We have to catch ourselves. We have to catch ourselves. Where are our weaknesses? And the more input goes in, the more chances for raga and dvesha. That's why wise is a person who minds their business and attends to the swadharma. Less sensory input, less raga and dveshas are generated. The one who likes to read, best person, because the sensory input from the eyes is just reading. Music, raga and dvesha. TV, we watch raga and dvesha. Movies, we watch raga and dvesha. The world, we watch raga and dvesha. Smell, raga and dvesha. Food, uski to baat hi mat karo. So everywhere there are likes and dislikes lurking around the corner. And we have to patrol ourselves. That's all. The minute we realize, this is a source of my bondage. Even healthy eating. Eat healthy, but don't get too comfortable with it. You go to somebody else's where you start questioning, "Are ye organic khana humko diya hai aapne?" You know, is this organic food you have served? You just eat whatever is given. That's all. In your home, yeah, you can eat organic. In your home, you can eat quinoa. But if somebody gives you rice, what to do? That's all. We have to be so alert in giving the commentary. This is very important. This over here, we seek freedom from Prakriti, but she is so subtle in the ways in which she binds us. So subtle. We eat a local canned mango from Mexico. And then immediately we say, "Arey, this is not like, Ratnagiri Apus." Finished. You cannot even enjoy that canned mango. All of a sudden, you brought in the mango of India, and then whoever seated over, "Arey, what to talk about the king of fruit, mangoes, India, some 186 variety over here. You only have one." Then the Ramayana of mango starts right from there. So, so alert, wise are the ones who remain silent and catch the mind in the middle of erring. The minute it airs, they catch it. Ah, no, not over here. Ah, no, not over here. This is very important. This shloka is brilliant. This is how sthula raga dvesh becomes a sukshma vasana. Okay. This is how gross likes and dislikes turn into a torrential force of vasana, because of which we have to take births. This is what creates our birth. Tayor navashamagache tau hi asya paripanthino. Bhagavan says these are the two enemies over here. These are the two enemies over here. I don't know how many of you have gone to Kanchipuram, Tamil Nadu. Yesterday also I talked about Lalita Tripura Sundari Raj Rajeshwari. Bhagavan Vishnu has the gatekeepers of the heaven, Dwarpalakas, Jaya and Vijaya. And Bhagavad Gita is narrated by Sanjaya. He's not Jaya and Vijay. There is a victory over victory, Sanjay. And Sakshat Bhagwan from Vaikuntha has to come over here and give him the darshan. It is meant for Arjuna, but Sanjay gets it. Imagine. Because he's far above and beyond Jaya and Vijay. Jaya and Vijay are the source of Raga and Dvesha. Madhu and Kaitab, the wax which came out of there. So Madhu and Kaitab are none other than Raga and Dvesha, that's all. But Sanjay, he's not Jaya, he's not Vijaya, but he is Samyak Jaya. Complete victory over Raga and Dvesha. He's seated in front of the blind king, whom he has told him time and again that you are wrong, you are wrong. You should not be this attached to your son. He's a source of your decadence. In fact, have allowed it to. That is Sanjay. And that Sanjay gets the bhagya of Divya Chakshu. The Vishwarupa Darshan was meant for Arjuna and Hanumanji, who's sitting on top of Arjuna's chariot. And bhagya of Sanjay, he sees this. Because he's beyond Raga and Dvesha. He has great love for the Pandavas who are righteous. But as fate would have it, he has to be on the Kaurava side. And he has to serve even Duryodhana's father. He knows where his heart is, but he also knows where his karma bhumi is. And he gets the Divya Chakshu. He's Sanjay. So the Jaya and Vijay are the gatekeepers of the heavenly world. If you go to Kanchipuram, the Dwarapalakas of Kanchi Kamakshi are two ladies. One, on her right hand side, she has a broomstick. And the other one on the left-hand side has a winnowing basket. Both the broom and the winnowing basket is to remove dirt. The Prakriti herself is Shuddha Sattva. She has removed the dirt of Rajoguna, Tamoguna, even Sattva Guna. These are her Dwarapalakas. Two ladies, one holding a broom and the other one holding a winnowing basket. वो soup बोलते हैं ना, you put annam in it and you separate rice and husk after it is pounded. So it is to separate out the dirt. The brooms off the dirt. The winnowing basket removes the dirt. And what is to be kept is kept. These are the Dwarpalakas of Prakriti. And thus she holds Pasha and Ankusha. She does not require anybody. She is aware of the fact. She's beyond. She's Shuddha Sattva, but she is also Trigunatmika Maya, and she has to bind people. Where can she bind? Right over here. Indriyasya Indriya Arthat. Indriyasya The. Ragadvesha Vyavastito. Tayornavashamagache Tauhyasya Paripantino. Even when we just go for simple darshan in these various temples and we observe, there is so much learning in it. So many people go do darshan, come out, they've never questioned. So what are the two Dwarpalakas of Prakriti? One lady holding a winnowing basket and the other one holding a broom. What is this? This is the reason. She holds on to no dirt. Her courtyard is ever clean. But she's Trigunatmika Maya and she has to work on people. She's after all Prakriti. And thus Bhagavan says over here, this Prakriti Nyanti Bhutani Nigraha Kim Karishyati. So these Bhagavan says, Tau hi asya paripantino. These are the true enemies on our path. The likes and dislikes, we have kept them right next to us as our Dwarapalakas. Bhagavan, with Jaya and Vijay, he knows. And they even falter. And Bhagavan has to take avatar. He has to come back down and bring them back up. All those things are there. So for us, it is a continuous, perpetual entry into the samsara because we have allowed our gatekeepers of our life to control our life. Likes and dislikes. Continuing. Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharmat swanushthitat Swadharme nidanam shreyaha paradharmo bhayavaha. So, swadharmo vigunaha shreyan. Very beautifully, Bhagavan says, one's own swadharma, one's own duty. Vigunaha, it may be devoid of merit. But Shreyan, it is great. Paradharmat swanushtitat. Paradharmat of somebody else's. Paradharmat swa anushtitat. So what is said is, we should stick with our swadharma. As little as it is, it may be devoid of demerit, but it is right for us because our swadharma was meant to deplete our vasanas. When we transgress our swadharma and try to do somebody else's dharma, better. That is problem. We, by our nature, are teachers. Let's say somebody is a born teacher, and they also have the brahmanatva to be the teacher. They are a good teacher, but then they realize, what good is it to be a teacher? This day and age, the profession doesn't pay well. And I'm quite smart. I can do computer science even better. But that is not our swadharma. And the person becomes a computer science. And they will be a great person as a programmer. They're brilliant. But the swadharma of teaching, it was given up because the viguna over there was, I am not paid well. This is what has happened to all the priestly class. They've given up that dharma of being the brahmanatva. Monetary gains look very inviting. Then what happens is our evolution, our spiritual evolution stops. So we should all look at our own swadharma. We have to learn to figure out, what am I good at? Why have I come over here? What is the purpose of my birth? By birth, I am like this, but by thoughts and ideas, I am like this. What truly is the purpose of my birth? These questions, when we really sort them out in our late teenage years, and we pick our swadharma, Bhagavan says, swadharme nidanam shreyah paradharmo bhayavaha. Paradharma, bhaya. But in swadharma, nidhanam, we may not be recognized or anything, but it is shreya, it is absolutely good, because our spiritual evolution rests in our own duty. Our duty is what is very important. We must look at our own antakarana for this. We have to be quiet, meditate upon the thoughts which are just present in our own mind, and figure out what is the quality and the texture of the thoughts which are entertained. This is how we find our swadharma. Very important. Bhagavan is saying, this swadharma need not be productive, convenient, pleasant, but it is right for us. The other one may be convenient, it may be pleasant, it may be monetarily paying off even more, but it is only delaying our spiritual progress. Each one of us, our primary purpose of arrival on this planet is to evolve. This is why human birth has been granted to us. The second shloka of Viveka Chudamani, Shankaracharya ji, extols about the glory of human birth. Jantunam narajanma durlabhamataf pumstavam tato viprata. Tasmad Vaitika Dharma Marga Parata. He talks about the blessings of human birth. Atma Anatma Vivechanam Swanubhavo Brahmatmana Samstitihi Muktirno Shata Janma Koti Sukrutaihi Punyai Vina Labhyate. The gradation, human birth. After human birth, then the basic right and wrong is figured out. Jantunam narajanma durlabhavata pumstvam tato viprata. It is a manliness. Manliness meaning an ability to face one's own thoughts. Who am I? What am I? And it takes courage to stand up. It's not like it is, this is, evolution is against the female gender. That's not what it is. It is the courage to face the thoughts and work with them. Vaidika dharma marga parataha, and greater courage to walk the righteous path. Brahmatmana samstitihi, all the way up to abidance in Brahman. All those. This requires a lot of courage. Many people, even today, leave the comforts of their home and jobs and securities and go out in search of truth. Even today, people do that. We don't have to leave the comforts of our home, but at least we should examine the thoughts present in our own antakarana. What is the quality and the texture of those thoughts? Very important. This shloka is for that. Continuing, Arjuna uvacha ath kena prayuktoyam papam charati purushaha anichchanapi varshneya baladiva niyojitaha. So Arjuna asks this question now that he has heard all these things and even the obstacles created by one's own prakriti and where the shortcomings are, and on top of that, people not picking their own swadharma, all these things Bhagavan has explained. Now Arjuna asks, Bhagavan, why do people err? Atha kena prayuktoyam, propelled by what? Papam charati purushaha. Purushaha papam charati. Why do men err? Papam charati. Why do they do nishiddha karma? Action which is prohibited. Why do they do that? Why do they pick up paradharma? Why do people like Duryodhana, knowing what is wrong, why does it heed? Why does he heed an unrighteous lifestyle? Anichchanapi varshneya, in the case of Duryodhan, he didn't want to, but it felt like there was some push. Some people, they know what is that speaking lies is not correct. But then why do they do it? A fib here, a fib over there, lying on the taxes, in the books, whatever it may be. Don't people know it? They know it. But then why? Anichchanapi varshneya baladiva niyojitaha. As though there is some force behind it which is propelling that person to act in that particular way. Why do people commit errors? Why do people commit sins? Why do people engage in nishiddha karma? Shri Bhagavan Uvacha काम एष क्रोध एषः रजोगुण समुद्भवः महाशनो महापाप्मा विद्येनमिह वैरिणम्. So Bhagavan says, very simple. Main is desire. Kama eshaha. We are all packets of just vasana, some program, the undercurrent of program, which is the fuel for our birth. And the desires bubble up, and as the desires burst themselves into the Vijnanamaya Kosha, the intellectual sheath, apprehends it, passes on to the mental sheath, which sprinkles emotions and feelings and make it more gross. And that's how actions are born at the level of body when mind pushes that desire through us. But if a filter were erected in the intellect, just like in our Gmail, we create a filter, and at the very state of the arrival of the email itself, it is sorted into various groups, and we create folders. And there is also a spam folder. Sometimes emails directly go in there and we don't even know that they have gone because of the powerful filter erected by us. It saves us from the wastage of time of opening that particular email and even getting annoyed by the content. So that filter does so much work for us in the email. It makes our life easy, and it even separates out if the email is from the school district, it goes into the folder and it is even forwarded to the children and the parents, children and the spouse, because one person has taken the responsibility of taking care of that. So I'm not going to open it. The spouse will take care of any email from the school district. So things like that, it makes our time management so much efficient. In the same way, when the desires percolate their way into the Vijnanamaya Kosha, the first Kosha, Bhagavan says that if there is no awareness at the level of intellect, then that is the source of error in our life, because no filter has been erected. अगर यहां पे चौकीदारी नहीं है तो फिर क्या होगा? Difficult to translate this into English. If the watchman itself is not over here, then the thief is going to go and do the damage of stealing. In the same way, Kamana is the root cause. Bhagavan says, because Arjuna, up to now, you have not erected any filter. And the filter is only erected over here by a sense of dharma. It is called our own intuition which guides us. We have to cultivate the intuition. But the intuition requires walking on a noble path up to an extent for it to be created. So Bhagavan says that the entry of Kamana, if it enters and we have not examined it, and if we have not nipped it in the bud phase, you better believe it is going to come into a full blossom. And sometimes when it comes over here, and once it has taken a shape, too late. That black flower has already, Ashubh has already arrived. What do you do? So Bhagavan is saying, Kama Esha, Krodha Esha. And the second one over here is when Kamana is allowed to go multiple times, it becomes strong and it brings its buddy with it. And its buddy is anger. Because the desire's desire is to fulfill the desire. Listen carefully. The desire's desire is to fulfill itself. And when the desire's desire is to fulfill itself, and if it is not, it is going to bring his buddy. And the buddy is anger. Make sure I am fulfilled. And if there is an obstacle between me and my fulfillment, you are going to get rid of that by showing your colors. So the desire has a buddy, an accomplice. If there is a thief who breaks into the bank, he never does it by himself. There's always an accomplice standing outside and watching, looking at the security cameras and whatnot, who's coming, who's not. Immediately he signals, let's go, let's go. So the desire has an accomplice with him called Krodha. Kama Esha, Krodha Esha, Rajoguna Samudbhavaha. Born out of Rajas. And what is the Rajas? मुझे कुछ मौज करनी है बस. I want to be happy. And to fulfill that Rajoguna, the intense activity born out of the active guna of Prakriti, wanting to push the jiva to the limits of expressing itself in this world with an extroverted nature. That Rajoguna Samudbhavaha, born out of it, Maha Ashanaha. Maha Ashanaha, he is all consuming. Ashana, to eat. Maha Ashana, he's a great devourer. What does he consume? He consumes our bhagya of spirituality and doesn't allow us to evolve spiritually. He eats up our spiritual bhagya. Maha Ashanaha, Maha Papma. And this is called the pap over here is when my spiritual evolution is hampered. Mahashano Mahapapma Vidyena Iha Vairinam. Understand him to be the thief over here, the enemy over here, the foe over here. Arjuna, it is this very subtle desire. If you have not examined it, and if you have not erected any proper filters to filter out these desires, this is the cause of your downfall. धूमेनाव्रियते वह्निः यथादर्शो मलेन च यथोल्बले यथोल्बेनावृतो गर्भः तथा तेनेदमावृतम्. So Bhagavan gives examples, 3 examples. Yatha dhumena avriyate vahnihi. Vahnihi, the fire, just like dhumena, smoke, avriyate is enveloped. Just like the fire is enveloped by the smoke, the second is just like Adarsha, mirror, Malena Avrutam, just like a mirror covered by a film of dirt, and Yatha Garbhaha Ulbena Avrutaha, just like a embryo is enveloped by ulbena, the womb, the little baby who is enveloped by the womb. These 3 examples. Now, when the fire is enveloped by the smoke, how do we get rid of this the smoke to manifest fire? Just blowing at it is enough for the smoke to be gone and the fire manifests. So very quickly you can get the fire. Now, Adarsha, mirror, you have gone for a vacation, like you live in this country and you have your home in India as well, and you've locked it up and you go there every December, and you go to India, you open up your home, you go to bathroom and you look at the mirror, and the mirror is enveloped by the dust in India is continuously everywhere. And that mirror, typically a reflection is seen immediately, but you see a dust. So you require some Windex, some paper towel, and you have to rub it off. And initially when you do it, it even smears and creates streak. So then you throw away that paper, get some more paper, clean up more. Then you throw away that paper, then just the paper, and you wipe it. So a little bit of effort is required. And then that poor new expecting mother has gotten pregnant, and that embryo is growing within her, and she has morning sickness. Poor thing wakes up in the morning and she starts her vomiting, and it is a hassle. And she looks at the due date that doctor has given, and she says, "Ayyo, I have like 9 months to go." That first trimester, she's probably thinking, what mess did I get myself into? Why did I even say yes to him to have a child? Poor thing. Now she keeps on looking at the date. So Bhagavan gave 3 examples. One, you blow and it goes away. The other one, you rub and it goes away. But the third one, 9 months of tapascharya. So these 3 examples are, Bhagavan is saying that our desires, they go away in these 3 ways. If we are alert, all that is required is one strength. If once in a while we miss out and there is a strong desire, then we have to put up a front and say, no, I'm not going to. But if there is a prarabdha of the karmic debt, what do? Like that poor woman, 9 months she has to go through. So some kamanas take us through some horrible prarabdha. This is sattva, rajas, and tamo guna. Tamo guna bhogena kshayate. Rajo guna, little bit of effort. But sattva, if it is there, you can blow it off and just get rid of it. So what is implied in this shloka is we have to make our prakriti overall sattvic. If we are not sattvic, chances are rajo and tamo guna desires will take us for a ride. This is what is implied over here, that we will be taken for a ride if we are not alert. Very, very powerful shloka. Bhagavan gives 3 examples: sattva, rajas, and tamoguna. In this way, we can battle our own vasanas, sattva, rajas, and tamoguna of the prakriti, and the sattva, rajas, and tamoguna of the desire. Both ways it can be taken. And if we develop a sattvic front and the tamasic vasana is there, you can just, power of sattva can blow off that tamoguna. But if it is a tamoguna over here and a tamoguna of the vasanas, finished, what can you do? So the 3 brothers, Yudhishthir, Ravan, and Kumbhakarna. Yudhishthir is sattvic. He goes to Lord Rama. Ravana is rajoguna. His mind is fixated on Sita. And Kumbhakarna, 6 months eating, 6 months waking, sleeping, eating, sleeping, eating, sleeping. He wakes up. He likes his brother Vibhishana. He doesn't quite appreciate his brother Ravana, but so much tamoguna, he cannot even stand up for his own brother who is so sattvic, Vibhishana. He hugs him and he says, "You are right, brother. You go find Rama." And Kumbhakarna just stays where he is with Ravana. These are the 3 gunas. Okay, continuing. Avrutam jnanametena jnanino nityavairina kamarupena kaunteya dushpurena nalena cha. So etena kamena he kamarupena kamarupena he kaunteya dushpurena analena cha jnaninaha jnanam avrutam. I read it in the prose order. I have to mentally arrange it in myself so I can explain it to you. That's how you read Sanskrit, to put the prose order to create a sentence. So over here, Bhagavan is saying that etena kamena, these kamanas, these sattva, rajas, tamo, gunatmika, all the kamanas, dushpurena analena cha, this uh, unsatiable fire of desires, these desires which are like the fire which cannot be appeased. Bhagavan is saying, kama rupena, those in the form of desires. Hey Kaunteya Arjuna, he's saying, Jnaninaha, of the man of wisdom, avrutam jnanam. These desires are enveloped, even the knowledge of the man of wisdom. So over here he's saying, oh Arjuna, the wisdom is this wisdom is enveloped by all these desires which are unappeasable, and if we are not alert, they loot away our wisdom. They envelop it, they consume it, and they render us bankrupt of wisdom. This is how bad desires are. So, indirectly, through this shloka, Bhagavan is saying, beware of your desires. Be attentive as to how desires are taking shape. Christmas is around the corner. People are buying things left and right. You go to the shop with a list to buy 4 things for 4 people, and you come home buying 1 thing for one of those 4 and 20 things for yourself. This is what happens. In the capitalistic market, this is how the economy functions. What to do? The capital in the capitalistic economy, each one of us is the capital. Somebody else is making money on us. We've become somebody's capital. Why? बड़े बड़े desires है तो क्या करें? Desires are there. And continuously offering tarpanam. The thought came, oh, I need this. Okay, go get it. I need this. Okay, go get it. I need this. Is there any type of viveka shakti that do I need it? How much is too much? Clothes and shoes and vessels and objects and oh ho ho ho. So basically, this shloka says, it explains that the discrimination, our discrimination faculty is completely destroyed by desires. This is how desires are. They play a number on us and render us bankrupt of our intelligence. In this weakness that Dhritarashtra has for Duryodhana, brought down a dynasty, a Kuru Vamsha. This is what happens if we, because the biggest object of desire, vastu, vyakti, paristhiti, objects, then come people. Our own children are biggest objects. So for children and spouse, a letter comes from the school, your child did this, and immediately a front rises. My child can never do that. So these are all the things we should be paying attention to. Okay. Indriyani mano buddhihi asyaadhisthanamuchyate etairvimohayatyesha jnanamavrutya dehinam. Etairvimohayatyesha jnanamavrutya dehinam. So indriyani, the senses, mano, mind, buddhihi, intellect, asya adhisthana muchyate. These are the dwelling places of desire. Remember earlier Bhagavan had said that indriyasya indriyarthe, that the senses, the sense objects of the senses, that is where the desire is. But upon continuously owning up the senses and bringing desire closer, now look, by the time we come to shloka 40, now Bhagavan is saying the desire hides in these three places. You see that? Just few shlokas ago, today itself, Bhagavan said it is right here. And now he's saying it is right here. Everywhere. What happened in that change? Because there was a living which did not exercise awareness. That's all. The jiva lived without awareness and brought this desire over here and brought this desire over here, where the whole equipment now is marinated in desire. Indriyani mano buddhihi asya adhisthanamuchyate. The kamanas, now the desires which are coming forth from here, now the equipment itself harbors the desires which are leaking out from the causal body through the equipment, because there is no checkpoint. So now each one of these places through which the desires can explore the pluralistic world, the gateways are vast open. And Bhagavan is saying, etaihi vimohayatyeshaha. By these, the person is deluded. Jnanam avrutya dehinam. Knowledge is enveloped. That Duryodhan, at the level of body, when he was young, Bhima was strong. He didn't like him. He poisoned Bhima, tried to kill him. They got older. And Arjuna became the apple of eye of Dronacharya. And in fact, all 5 Pandavas became the apple of eye of Bhishma Mahapita. Irsha, jealousy. Now, at this level, is so intense jealousy and hatred. He wants to burn them. Laksha Gruha, he burned them. Finds out they are alive. They come back. Dhritarashtra gives the worst of the land called Khandava Prastha, where nothing can grow. But with blessings of Bhagavan and the Devatas, the Khandava Prastha is turned into Indraprastha. Now the Buddhi is burning. Call them over here. Let us play a game of dice. I want to get rid of them once and for all. Now, even cheating is possible. And the Buddhi hires Shakuni Mama. Get rid of them. Do you see that one person desires at all levels? That hatred had penetrated the very Buddhi. How can this person invoke righteousness in living? Are childhood itself he had tried to kill Bhima, thrown the body into the river. Then over here, burning them alive. And now the Khandava Prastha turns into Indraprastha. Cannot bear to see. They are far away, but yet they have brought closer. In the Buddhi, they are very much alive as enemies. This is the end of it. So Indriyani, Mano, Buddhihi, Asya Adhisthanamuchyate, Etaihi Vimohayatyeshaha, Jnanamavrutya Dehinam. Knowledge is enveloped. These desires. In fact, the Gita is available to us only because Dhritarashtra orchestrated all this. Bhagavan goes, negotiates. Bhagavan says, no way these people are going to budge. Wage a war. I'll be on your side. And we have Bhagavad Gita because adharma ki bhi had ho gayi, you know. Tasmat tvamindriyanyadau niyamya bharatarshava papmanam prajahiyenam Jnana Vijnana Nashanam. Bhagavan says, therefore, Indriyani Adau Niyamya. Just like I took some time when I did the previous shloka. Be very careful at the level of the senses. Have you engage the senses with the sense objects? Right over here. Terminate your desires right over here. Understand the simile of the Dwarapalakas, Raga and Dvesha. Bhagavan has Jaya and Vijay, but what we need is Sanjay. We have to have complete victory. Even though Bhagavan is on somebody else's chariot, he will give darshan to me. That's called Sanjay. This is how, at this level, we just get rid of our desires. Niyamya Bharatarshava, keep them under control, these senses. Papmanam prajahihyenam. Papmanam, the sinful tendencies of the senses to abide in the sense objects and create that luring attachment for the sense world, to enjoy the sense world, what does it do? Jnana Vijnana Nashanam. They are the destroyers of knowledge and wisdom. Arjuna, do not allow that to happen. This is the 5 Pandavas. They share one Draupadi. Imagine. In some cultures, one man, multiple women. Over here, one Draupadi, 5 Pandavas, born out of Daivik Shakti to Kunti and Madari. And they understand who Draupadi is. She is born out of the fire of consciousness. They dare not misbehave with any senses with Draupadi. She's not ordinary. She is Chidagnikunda Sambhuta, Devakarya Smudyata. You know, Drupad has done a great fire sacrifice. And that's why nobody can handle Draupadi. She is the Daivik Shakti of Para Prakriti. So the only people who can handle her are the ones who have victory over their senses. And thus, when Dushasana misbehaved with her, she let go of her thousands of hair, because each hair is born out of a Shakti, and vowed that the blood itself will bind this hair. We have thousands of desires and we just let go of them. We have not learned to tie them at all. And interestingly, Kesh comes from the head, and Bhagavan also bears his name Keshava. The hair is a symbol of our desires. Are we going to tie them? What are we going to do with this? It is from here rises a life of desire. And Bhagavan says the only way we can keep the desires tied by the rubber band of the senses which are tied up. This is the only way we can do it. This whole Mahabharata, there's so much learning in it, you know. Indriyanya paranyahuhu, indriyebhyah param manaha, manasastu para buddhihi, yo buddhev para tastu saha. Indriyani parani ahuhu, indriyebhyah param manaha. So, what superior to the senses, superior to sense objects, the senses have to be kept in control. Superior to that is the mind, superior to that is the buddhi, and indriyebhyah parammanaha manasastu parabuddhihi yo buddhe paratastu saha. And beyond the buddhi is awareness. So Bhagavan is saying, invoke awareness. Keep the buddhi in control. Always lead it to swadhyay, learning. Lead the mind to proper emotions and feelings. Guide it by the guide rails of the dharma that buddhi has understood. Mind being the 6th sense, keep the senses under control. And with the senses under control, allow those horses to move about in the sense objects properly. This is bodily lifted from Kathopanishad as well. Evam buddhe param buddhva samstabhyatmanamatmana jahi shatrum mahabaho kamarupam durasadam. So Bhagavan is saying, evam buddhehe, thus knowing in the buddhi, the higher self, buddhya sanstabhya, having the restraining of the senses, the restraining of the mind, atmana, atmanam, by the self, lower self, invoke the higher self. And what do you do? Jahi Shatru, conquer the enemy. Which enemy? This Kama Rupa Durasadam, this enemy in the form of desire, which has intent on conquering your own buddhi, knowledge and wisdom over here, taking the buddhi to the higher, conquer this lower kamana. And in this way, we end chapter 3. Om Tat Saditi Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade. Over here, Karma Yogo Nama Tritiyo Dhyayaha. So, Om Tat Sad Iti. Om Tat Sad Iti, this is declared in the 17th chapter. So you have to wait till 17th chapter to figure out what is Om Tat Sat Iti. Okay. In short, this absolute Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su, which is expounded, this Tat, which is Sat, which is expounded in Bhagavad Gita, is also expounded Upanishadsu. It is also expounded in the Upanishads. And what is it? It is Brahma Vidyaya. It is the knowledge of the self. Bhagavad Gita is Yoga Shastra. In Upanishads, it is exclusively Brahma Vidya. It's not Yoga Shastra. Bhagavad Gita is Yoga Shastra. Why Yoga Shastra? Because Bhagavan Krishna also gives sadhana. This Karma Yoga, chapters 3, 4, 5, you will not find them in Upanishad. There is no mentioning of Karma Yoga in Upanishad. It is assumed in Upanishad that the student has gone through all these things, senses are controlled, mind is quiet, and intellect has a resolve in Sukshma Buddhi. Meditation in the Upanishads. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam Parame Vyonamam. So Oshnute Sarvan Kaman. Ahaha. All desires gone. And this is where it starts. Oh, then. So Yoga Shastra, the uniqueness of Bhagavad Gita is Bhagavan gives us things to follow in every single chapter. His love for Arjuna is our blessing. That is called Yoga Shastra. His love for Arjuna to succeed and be victorious. That is Yoga Shastra. Otherwise, Bhagavan would not have dealt so much time. When he says, Name Bhakta Pranashyati, this is a proof. He will bend over backwards for his devotee. That is Yoga Shastra. He's a compassionate Lord of the universe Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. When we realize who Krishna Bhagavan is, to hold Gita in our hand, we should have tears in our eyes. Bhagavan. This is a loving Bhagavan. Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvad. It is a Samvad where Arjuna has a healthy, not just respect, but reverence for Krishna. And he doesn't doubt the words of Krishna. His love for Krishna is evident. So that is Samvad, where he is asking with due respect. All the questions that he asks, he truly wants to grow. Karma Yogo Nama Trutiyodhyaya. So there is Vad, there is Vitanda, there is Jalpa, and then there is Samvad. So between two students teaching each other mathematics, that's called Vad. And then one establishing his supremacy over the other, it is Vitand. And Jalpa, both of them prattling, trying to establish their own supremacy without listening to what the other one is saying. So there are different types of dialogue, but this is the highest type. It is called Samvad, where the student listens, tries to follow, tries to integrate, and then asks again for the sake of clarification so that abidance can be gained. That is Samvad. Iti Tritiyodhyayah. We have finished the third chapter.